I'm showing you here a card that I made, and I didn't film this process, but I loved the card so much. I haven't been filming a lot of card process videos because I feel like they don't get a lot of views on my channel, but I liked how this turned out so much that I decided I would film this process for you, and I hope that you enjoy it and maybe learn something new. So what I'm going to do is I am starting with a piece of white cardstock. This is just white cardstock, whatever kind you kind of have around. We're not going to do anything to it that's going to make it deteriorate or anything. We're just going to ink up the edges of it. So I'm going to use some old paper, antique linen, and then just the tiniest bit of vintage photo Distress Oxide ink around the edge of this card base. And you can see me here going in with some of that color. I find that old paper, for me, always ends up looking the tiniest bit too green. But when I mix it with the warmer antique linen, I get a blend that I really, really like. So I know I've been a little bit quiet here on my channel this week. I've been having some health issues. For those of you that might not know, I have lupus, and it's just been a really rough pain week. But I do have like 3 process videos to voice over and upload, so hopefully we'll get those done during the weekend, and I'll have some time to scrapbook a little bit more than I have been doing. I've just been doing little bits here and there because my health has not been good this week, so I apologize for the lack of content. And I hope that you enjoy this card making video because I really, really like what I did with it. It's just, I like how the card turned out. I think it turned out really nice. So now I'm just spritzing this with some water, and I'm spritzing it with a good bit of water. So there's a good bit of water on this cardstock. And as you can see, it's not any kind of crazy expensive cardstock because it just folded right up when I spritzed it with water. But it will flatten out super duper easily with no problems. So I'm just going to set that off to the side to dry, and I'm going to clean up because I have to clean up. I need to clean up between all the things. And then I'm going to collect together what I need for these ruffles. So this is why I wanted to film a second card like this, because I think these ruffles are adorable and kind of genius, and I think that they would work for any project, traveler's notebooks, a scrapbook layout, whatever. So what I'm doing here is I am taking this paper. This is an old sewing pattern. Okay, so the paper is kind of like that tissue paper, but it's an old vintage sewing pattern. And just in case you're wondering, and there's the puppy. My boy's newest kind of thing right now is to hand me the puppy while I am scrapbooking. And as he gets older and more active, he doesn't just curl up on my lap and sleep. So anyway, I am just cutting strips of the sewing pattern. Yes, and yes, I still have a puppy. And I think at this point I've put him down with his bone. And I'm just looking, I need longer strips. So if I open up the strips that I've cut and they're little pieces, I'll just kind of toss the little pieces off to the side because I want longer strips. I need longer strips for this particular project. So I have enough strips here. I am using some score tape, which is double-sided tape, double-sided sticky tape. I'm using some purple tape, which is a low-tack tape that I love, and some Nouveau Deluxe adhesive just towards the end. So what I'm doing is I am laying down a piece of the score tape upside down, and I'm adhering it at 2 ends with that purple tape. And then I'm going to take the sewing patterns and I'm going to pleat them, which is fairly easy. So you just want to open it up. The width doesn't matter. The edges don't have to be cut perfectly. I mean, you saw me just kind of like hack into that sewing pattern. There was no rhyme or reason there. And I'm just pleating the sewing pattern. And because I have that tape there, it's going to stick and hold my pleats in place. So, pretty easy, very simple, but I think it creates the cutest little, I don't know, embellishment things. So then I'm going to snip off the purple tape, and I'm just going to add adhesive. This is Nouveau Deluxe adhesive, and I'm only adding it to the spots where I and worried that it might catch. So we want texture with this, but we want to also make sure that we can mail this card. So we're, and at the end of the day, this card is fairly flat. You can mail it in a regular envelope. It'll go through the mail and be just fine. So I am going to use this technique to create enough pleated strips to fill my card base. So now I have all of these little ruffles created. For my cardstock, it took 4 ruffles, and it took 4 for the other card that I made as well. But depending on how thick or thin you cut them, you might need less or more. Just depends on how thick you cut the strips of the sewing pattern that you're using. So here's the coolness. Pull off the other side of that double stick tape, and you have just created yourself a ruffled textured sticker. This could have so many uses, guys. If you're a scrapbooker, you can use this technique to make paper pleats that go totally across your page. You can do what I did and add it to a card. You can do this with some ribbon and create more. So I'm just showing you here how I've trimmed up my first card, and so I'm showing you what it looks like rough. You could use it either way. I'm going to continue to trim mine because I just like the way that it looks. I like the trimmed edges, but you could of course leave it rough the way it is, just like that without trimming it. If you do trim it, you need Teflon scissors. I have a pair of Teflon detail scissors from Close to My Heart. They work fabulously. Nothing sticks to them. But definitely, if you try this technique, you will need some Teflon scissors. Or don't trim. That would be my second plan. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure I like this, and I do. So you see how that inked panel we made, first of all, it flattened out. Second of all, it's not really noticeable, but trust me on this, it's noticeable enough. It really kind of just blends in. Now I'm taking some sequins from Spiegelman Scraps. These are the new February releases. This is the Lush Greenery set. I'm going to grab my jewel picker and my Nuvo Deluxe adhesives, and I'm going to add some sequins to different areas of this layout. If you have one of these jewel pickers and it gets goopy on the end, and I don't know that they tell you this or not, and I don't know if you're supposed to, but I just wipe it off with baby wipe and then it sticks just fine. Because I have gotten it goopy, like accidentally got some glue on it or, anything like that. So this is a beautiful butterfly embroidered applique piece from the Bygones Variety Shop, and I'm also going to be using these crocheted flowers from the shop. So the crochet flowers I think are amazing. You get a big bag of them, and they are a very good price point and super fun. I have actually been searching for someone to make me some crochet flowers. So when I saw that I had the opportunity to just go ahead and buy a couple, like that was super duper exciting for me. So I'm just adding these fun sequin mixes. I am adding them into clusters. So this particular sequin mix, it has some sequins, and then it has some green leaves, and it has little black leaves, and you'll see in the close-ups, like the way that this mix is put together, it makes for these beautiful clusters that look like little sequin greenery. So you have all the little pieces in the mix, and if you kind of glue them all together, you end up with these lovely little clusters of tiny kind of abstract flowers and leaves. And so I'm just using the Nuvo here. Remember when I said I used it to kind of tack down some parts that I was afraid were going to be too, that were going to fly up, and I was worried about them catching on things to mail them. That's what I'm doing there. When I grabbed the Nuvo glue, I just found a spot that insists on it needs to like stand up a little bit. So here are these gorgeous flowers, and again, I'm just going to pop them down with some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. This is my current favorite wet glue. This bottle doesn't clog. It's so amazing. It comes down in tiny little bits, doesn't clog. I have had so much success. This is my second bottle with this adhesive, and I hope they make it forever because I'm kind of in love with it. I'm not kind of in love with it. I am in love with it. It's pretty fabulous adhesive. So adding just the last little bits and touches to this layout, to this card. Layout to this card. I want to make sure that I have some color. I want it to be random and just fun. I set that panel aside to dry really well before I adhered it to my card base. And this is just a normal 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card base. I'm just going to adhere it down. And that's going to complete these note cards for today. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'd love it if you give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. I really enjoy creating my crafting projects and sharing them with you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And here are some close-ups. Bye.